Following the recent deadly mass shooting in Buffalo and Uvalde, the nation's gun debate is again reignited. Massacres are fueling new hearings on Capitol Hill about how to handle the country's gun violence. We look for answers from longtime Northwest Missouri Republican Congressman Sam Graves to find out if mass shootings can be prevented, and if so, how. Here's KQ2's Nick Ingram with the story.
Is advising he is in the room full of victims.
The nation is suffering yet again from another rash of gun violence after 2 deadly days in May. On May 14th in Buffalo, New York, 10 people were shot and killed when a gunman opened fire at a grocery store. 10 days later, another mass shooting took the lives of 19 children and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas.
17. Are you injured?
According to the Gun Violence Archive, so far in 2022, there have been nearly 300 mass shootings across the country. There were a total of 692 mass shootings in the U.S. in 2021.
But we're not just hurting, we're angry, we're mad. This shouldn't have happened.
Faced with pressure to act in the wake of these tragedies, House lawmakers recently passed legislation called the Protecting Our Kids Act. The legislation is aimed at preventing gun violence. If passed and signed by the president, the bill would ban the sale of certain semi-automatic firearms to anyone under 21 years old, create new federal offenses for gun trafficking, and ban the sale and possession of large-capacity magazines and bump stocks. The measure would also introduce federal regulations on ghost guns. Despite public support for new restrictions, the measure is not expected to pass the Senate.
Stop the violence! Stop the violence!
Northwest Missouri Republican Congressman Sam Graves, who is seeking re-election this fall and has received an endorsement from the NRA, says that these bills will do very little to prevent another school shooting.
It doesn't address the problem itself. What it does is address the tools that are used.
Graves argues there are pieces of the House bill that are unconstitutional.
The Supreme Court ruled that a law dictating how citizens store their firearms in their own homes was unconstitutional, yet they put that in the bill. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, they recently ruled that California's law banning adults under the age of 21 from owning semi-automatic firearms, they ruled it was unconstitutional.
However, in the same 2008 Supreme Court ruling for D.C. versus Heller, the late Justice Scalia added in the opinion of the court that, quote, like most rights, the Second Amendment right is not unlimited. It is not a right to keep and carry a weapon whatsoever in any manner whatsoever and for whatever purpose. Graves is pushing his own gun legislation in response to mass shootings. He has co-sponsored the Secure Every School and Protect Our Nation's Children Act. A part of that bill would allow teachers to carry a firearm in the classroom, something that Missouri passed in 2014, which would allow designated teachers or school administrators to become school protection officers.
Teachers want to take the training and to be able to, to protect themselves and their classroom, and they want to take the training when it comes to resource officers, or just allowing the teachers to do that themselves in their own classroom. We should be letting that happen.
9 states, including Missouri, currently allow school employees to carry firearms on school grounds.
We shouldn't just have a blanket policy that says, nope, we're not going to allow teachers to do that. We should let the teachers make that decision as well.
Another proposal that was something former President Donald Trump voiced his support for in 2018 that has now met Republican opposition is raising the age limit to purchase a semi-automatic rifle from 18 to 21.
But you can't buy a handgun at 18, 19, or 20. You have to wait till you're 21, but you can buy the gun, the weapon used in this horrible shooting at 18.
The shooters in Uvalde, Buffalo, Parkland, and Sandy Hook were all under the age of 21 and used AR-15 style rifles. Graves says, regardless of if they are trained members of the military or civilians, 18-year-olds should be able to purchase and possess semi-automatic rifles.
This isn't about whether or not how old you are or whether you've been trained or haven't been trained. It's about what's up here and what you're thinking. And that's what we need to focus on. That's the problem.
While the House has passed 2 bills directed at preventing gun violence, it will ultimately be left up to the Senate, which has had its own gun legislation pass both sides of Congress that had support of 14 Republicans, including Missouri Senator Roy Blunt. As Congress continues to debate over gun legislation, families and friends still mourn the victims and ask for something to change this time.
Somewhere out there, there's a mom listening to our testimony, thinking, I can't even imagine their pain, not knowing that our reality will one day be hers, unless we act now.
Reporting, Nick Ingram, KQ2 News.
The Senate gun bill was signed into law by the president Saturday. Congressman Graves released a statement following the House passing the Senate gun reform bill by saying in part, quote, "The federal government shouldn't be paying states to infringe on the rights of law-abiding Americans. We can and must secure our schools without trampling all over the Second Amendment."